All right, this week we've got Bitmap books with the Game Boy book and the side scroller beat 'em up book. How about that? And the Mandalorian trailer. We're going to talk about all that right after this.
According to Wikipedia, a nerd is a person seen as overly intellectual, obsessive, introverted, or lacking social skills. Many so-called nerds are described as being shy, quirky, pedantic, and unattractive. We're here to prove Wikipedia right.
Oh, look who they let in.
This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. If it's fantasy, sci-fi, gaming, movies, interviews, we're talking about it. We're talking about it. This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, and here's your host, Moose, Game God, and Magic Mike.
Welcome to Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. Episode number 491. Magic Mike, Game God, on our way to 500. This week, though, 491. Just if you were keeping track at home and keeping score.
Did Game God just pull up another Lego?
Yeah. No, this is from Soundwave, though. This is.
Oh, okay.
This is
Oh, yeah. That's Ravage.
Ravage.
Yes, Rabbit.
Yes. I love, he knows how to do it, man. He knows how to do it.
Yeah, he does.
No
He knows how
kidding.
to spend that money.
He spends the money. That guy is one of the best at it. He's one of the best.
It looks like his hair's getting a little longer too.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's growing faster.
It goes fast. And we get old, that's what happens.
No. To your guys, when you have more money, it grows faster.
Right? Yeah.
That's funny. I don't even know where to. I have a good transition. I think I want to talk about stuff, and then you just set me on another fire, another rabbit hole, and I get to talking. All right, but we're back. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. Where all things sci-fi come to life. Now, today, we're diving into another set of gorgeous digital books from Bitmap Books. Now, they're digital for us because we're talking about them, but you can own them. That's right. We're going to talk about them and tell you how to get them. We've got two heavy hitters in the retro world. We got the Game Boy book, and we've got a side-scrolling beat-em-ups book. I love that name, side-scrolling beat-em-ups book.
Great.
Exactly what we remember. Those aren't just books. They're visual time machines, as Game God pulls out his hoverboard. And today, each of us are going to break down what makes them so special. Each one of the books. I've kicked this off and just kind of started talking about it. We'll pass it over to Game God to walk down and walk us through the Game Boy book, and then over to Magic Mike for the beat 'em ups. Game God, take it away.
I love how you send it over to me first. We're going to go with the Game Boy. And before I even talk about this book, if you're holding the physical copy of the book, it actually looks like a box of the original Game Boy. That gray color, that blue writing, like it has the outline of a Game Boy. Man, I was like, digital wise, I felt like I was holding it, right?
Hey, by the way, I think Game God, we should call you Game Boy from now on, just for this episode. Maybe.
Yeah, that's okay.
Before you were a Game God, you had to be a Game Boy. So
that's
I
right.
That's right.
13 years old in the subway. I got you. So we're going to dive into the Game Boy book first, right? And I want to tell you, if you don't know, the Game Boy was this tiny little system, about 6 inches, I think about.
Teeny tiny.
With a tiny little screen with 4 shades of green, right? But it gave us these huge worlds, right? And when I talk about huge worlds, I'm talking about Tetris, Pokemon,
Yes.
Zelda,
Yes.
Metroid, right? Mario. Keep going, right?
Keep going.
And what Bitmap Books has done here is showcase the box art and design work that really sold these worlds before we even hit start. When you walked into a store, it was like a siren calling you over to the aisle and said, "Look at me, pick me up, turn me around, read me," right?
Isn't that funny
And
how that's changed over time? Like, it was the art because you had very little, showcasing the actual, video game itself back in the day, but it was the art, the cover art, man. That is so important in our community.
Yeah, because that's what drew you to that. To your point, Moose, because you had no idea before, other than if you saw somebody else playing it or you've seen a commercial or something, you'd be like, "This isn't the same." The
Yeah.
art had to draw you in, and then you had the instructions on the inside. Are you kidding me?
yeah, you even had the white and black warning instructions that you don't even get that no more. Like you're like, what is this? What is this extra stuff? You just tossed it away.
Tossed it away.
But when you talk about the artwork in the boxes, you talk about this when this system came out, there was nothing else like it, right? So there was nothing that would even guide you to even look at these boxes. It had to be the artwork, right?
Right.
Nowadays, you've got sequels and trilogies, and there's legacy games, there's spin-offs where
Yeah,
so you're like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I remember that game. It's like this game. Before you even like you don't even look at the box art right now anymore of games, right? Because it doesn't tell you anything.
You don't
Like,
even get a box anymore, Game God. You just
I was gonna
yeah,
say,
well,
what
that's
box?
true. Well, you get boxes still. You buy everything still physical.
I tried.
But I want to let you guys know when you flip through this book, it's not just screenshots though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that colorful, bold, almost over the top, not over the top, almost over the top artwork that used to grab your attention in the store. Remember that siren, right? That
Yeah.
Homer's Odyssey is it called? Where you said, "What's that noise?"
Yes.
And it just brought you there, right? Some of the covers were so wild compared to the 4 shades of green we got on the Game Boy screen, but that's
Yeah.
what made them magical.
I
That's what
loved
made
your-
them magical.
Yeah, and I loved your dramatic pause there, Game God. That was really, really great. It adds a little something to what we're talking about. Because what made me pause was as I was reading this book and learning more about it, I didn't know, because this is the information it gives you, right? That Game Boy sold over 300,000 units in its first 2 weeks in Japan. 2 weeks, 300,000 units. It's hard for me to even imagine that. And then it was just a few months later, they sold 40,000 units in one day, in a single day in the U.S.
I bet they can even do that today with today's production. They don't even know how to do that anymore, but they
No.
could. They could prepare for it then,
And I'm glad you brought that up, Magic Mike, because this book brings so much of everything. First of all, the book it's like a college textbook, right? It's it's huge. There's a lot of information in there. They talk about the history of the Game Boy, right? They talk about the details in the timeline, right? So as they're talking about all these details, they give you quotes, conversational pieces. They talk about people that were involved that you have no idea, right? And they describe it and talk about it and make you feel not like you're reading something like, what am I reading? But like if you're there, like you're actually there.
Right.
It
Look
oh
at this.
wow.
Look at this cover art. We're talking about Street Fighter 2 from Game Boy. Look at that. Yes, I want this game. Yes, give me one, please.
Yeah.
Listen,
take
I
two.
would give you the sound effect of Baraka there, not Baraka, Blanca. It's
Blanca,
different games.
yeah.
Blanca. But I don't think I think that shut us down if I gave you the sound effect.
Yeah,
It's too
you're
good.
usually really good,
It's,
right?
it's
spot
really
on
good. It's
with,
really good. I'll just
good.
give you the snippet of the electricity. That's electricity. That's all you're gonna get. Not only that, they give you so much detail that it leaves no space for misunderstanding or error. Right? It gives you everything, even right down. I'm gonna hit you home with this one. It gives you the actual model of the very first Game Boy, the Game Boy DMG-01. All right?
Wow.
That take a moment there, guys. Just
Wow.
bring it all in, right? So when I think about that, I also think about it talks about how it acquired the rights of Tetris, one of the biggest games at the time, and say, you know
Tetris,
what?
Yeah.
We're gonna give you this game with the Game Boy.
Yeah.
That's how confident they were with this system, by the way, that they gave you the most popular game at the time in a bundle.
Isn't that
Well, it makes
crazy that it was so popular? And by the way, I just want to say, talk about these cover art. Sometimes in the case of Street Fighter 2, you had a drawn cover. Now let's talk about something that may be. Look at this. The All-Star Challenge 2 cover. Look at this. On this cover, you've got NBA stars. You have Karl Malone, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins, Chris Mullen, right? And then
Good
look
job.
down
You
here at
know
these-
them all.
Look, I do. And then look down here at this green screen. But in our mind,
Yes.
we saw
That's Patrick
them.
Ewing.
We saw who
That's
it was.
Patrick
We
Ewing
saw
right there.
Patrick Ewing. We saw Karl Malone going for a dunk.
Yep.
And it vaguely, looking back on it, you're like, but that really doesn't look anything like him. But at the time, it absolutely did in our mind. So I love that. I love it.
Yeah, well, I don't think you would have bought it otherwise, right? If you hadn't seen that art first.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have bought it. You better give me that cover because otherwise I wouldn't have purchased it.
A
Yeah,
bunch
it's
of green,
like
a
Tetris.
bunch of green shaded players with basketballs.
Players.
Eh?
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
You had
They all
mentioned
look the
Tetris.
same.
The same kind of thing because just the thought of stacking blocks. How does that appeal to you? So
Tetris.
playing the game is what made you transform. As a matter of fact, I wonder, and the book brings it up. It asks, where would Game Boy be without Tetris? Would it have been so successful without it?
Mhm.
Great question.
Listen, I can't remember songs that they play on the radio 5 minutes ago, but I can tell you all the songs of Tetris.
Don't
Give me
sing
one.
'em.
Game God.
We're
gonna get booted.
It's like
You know, Moose, This is actually going. This reminds me of exactly what you were just talking about. His reenactment of the songs is more like what the gameplay actually was with all the greens
That's true.
versus the real versus the artwork.
That's true. That's true.
You know, Moose, you brought up the NBA All-Star Challenge 2. You showed Street Fighter as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think about games and screenshots of the games that I grew up on, and in 4K in these books. Like I say 4K.
Yes.
The resolution is crisp.
Yes.
Better than what the Game Boy looked like. I'm like,
Correct.
is this AI generated? You know, it's so crystal clear. And I think about games like Super Mario Land 1 and 2, Kirby's Dream Land,
Yes.
Mega Man. You know, we mentioned Tetris, Legend of Zelda, and even the games like Pokemon Red, Blue, and then later on they came out with Yellow.
Well, speaking of that, now the Game Boy was huge. First of all, think about what we got. We got a system that we could take with us anywhere. It was so portable. We weren't tethered down by cords and big machines. And by the way, big TVs at the time that weighed 326 pounds. You know, you had a screen that you could take with you, and it was so portable. You know, literally take it anywhere with you in the car. You know, Game God mentioned, just taking it back to when he was traveling. Like, I love that. But what were some of the all-time selling games with the Game Boy? Can you take a guess? You've already guessed one there. Let's get it out of the way. Pokemon, red, green, blue, yellow, like that. Those are the massive sellers for the Game Boy. Any other ones that you might?
I'm going to jump in before Game God does because he'll know all of them. I'm going to say Zelda. Zelda has to be on that list.
Believe it or not, Zelda's probably somewhere on the list, but not at the top.
Oh,
Magic
man.
Mike.
Super Mario Land.
Super
of course.
Mario Land, yes, absolutely. Tetris, of course, would be at the top. We might even go Pokemon Gold and Silver if you really wanted to go for the
Pokemon's
Game
all
Boy-
over that
Game Boy
list.
Color.
Yeah.
Game Boy Color. Remember that was a little different. But yeah, Mario Land, Dr. Mario. Remember Dr. Mario was
Yep.
kind of
Oh,
like
wow.
Yep, I
That was-
remember
that
that.
Tetris.
That's bringing it
Anyway.
back. Wow.
That's the advanced Tetris.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so funny to think about.
And listen,
that.
Tetris
But
probably
like
would have been
Kirby-
Tetris would have
Kirby-
been number one if they sold it. By the way.
And Magic Mike, to your point, you're right. The Legend of Zelda on the Game Boy Color was near the top there on that one. But Donkey Kong Island, another one. Donkey Kong Land. I'm sorry, Donkey Kong Land.
Was an island.
Just incredible, just incredible. It just brings me back to all those wonderful games that we remember. That you can still put it on today and go, oh yeah, I remember this.
Well, it's not just the games, right? Talk about the accessories. This book talks about it. You remember the Game Boy Light Boy with the magnifying glass?
Yes,
Right?
Yes.
How about the Game Boy camera? Which, by the
Yes.
way,
Wow.
did not know until this book told me that it was in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the smallest camera at the time that it released.
I
Hey,
did
by
not
the-
know that.
by the way, this is something. I mean, we got a camera like that. I don't even know. It would probably 2 megapixel. Not even.
I don't think it was 2.
No. It was 2 Minecraft blocks. But now we have like 48 megapixel. Going through on our phones, and we just travel around with them all the time. But this was the first like portable electronic camera. Period.
Yeah.
This was great. I think it was pulled out of the archives for that. So I love that.
And not only a camera, there was a Game Boy printer as well.
Wow, printer.
That's right.
Yep. And
That's
then it
Man.
even talks about the Super Game Boy that plugged in, that you put into your Super Nintendo and you play.
Yes.
Mhm.
There you go. There you go. Bring it
Man.
up. Show those pictures. Look at the Game Boy camera there. Wow.
Great.
Wow. And listen, when you had these accessories, what you were the person in charge here,
Yes.
because you knew you wanted to show it off. Like you sat there and you looked around to see if anybody was looking to see if you had that. Yeah, I got the accessories too. I don't have just the Game Boy, but I got the battery pack, the light, the magnifying glass, right? And I got the little piece of the controllers, the buttons, and everything a little bit bigger. Yeah, it looked like a transformer at the end of the day.
Right. So many accessories.
That's
Exactly.
why you loved it so much.
That's right. And then I think the last part of this book that really brought it home for me, that put all the pieces together, was the collectors interview section. So they interviewed a couple of collectors, and they talked about how old they were when they first got into the Game Boy, and what it did for me is that it unlocked memories for me. And one memory in particular is Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. I used to play that every day in high school, freshman year, as I rode the subway to school and from school, because I couldn't play it in school. And
Right, of
I
course
would
not.
be looking at the clock all day so when we got out, so I can play it in the subway, because it was an hour ride for me.
Right.
And I would bring extra batteries with me, because I remember the first time it died on me as I was playing, and I was so mad because I had to sit there for 30 minutes and not play. I'm like, who sits in the subway and not play Game Boy?
First of all, yeah. Let me just say that. How long did the batteries last in this? Do you remember? I don't recall.
So yes. So it's funny you said that, because it says it in the book. So it lasts 12 hours on 4 AA's, where the competitor at the time that came out had 6 batteries and lasted for 4 hours.
What was the was that the Sega?
Yes,
Yes.
I still have that one. Yeah.
the Game Gear.
Game Gear. Yeah.
12 hours is a long time, by the way.
Listen, think about that. We can't even get our cell phones to last that long nowadays on a full charge.
Yeah.
Some of us can, but
Some of
most
us can't.
If you're playing
That's a
games on
podcast. That's an episode for another day.
that's another episode. But you're absolutely right. That's amazing. That is truly amazing.
So so as I go back and I dive into this book, and I hear the stories from developers, I hear it as I read it.
Yeah.
And then the pieces of trivia in there, like we talked about, Guinness Book of World Records, the sales records of all that. It makes you look at the Game Boy in a whole new light.
Yeah.
Years later, right? And for me, this book made me want to go dust off my Game Boy, right, and fire up my Pokemon Blue once again.
I would believe you, except I don't think you have a Game Boy. I know Moose does. He probably has it right there next to him. You pull it up if you would. But no, you're absolutely correct. Now, I'm not going to say there are some books that are better than others. That's not what I'm saying with this next statement. But I will say, let's move into something a little louder and a little rowdier, and that's the side-scrolling beat-em-ups book, which I love. As I was looking at these things, I mean, this one instantly brought me back to the arcades. You Final Fight, Double Dragon, Streets of Rage, Ninja Turtles, and maybe I'm wrong, Moose, as I stutter here, but didn't everybody have a Ninja Turtle group? I know that what we did, we wrote up. We have a Ninja Turtle group.
I was Donatello.
Everybody was
by the way.
named a Ninja Turtle. What's that game, God?
I was Donatello.
Yeah, there you go. See, and I was Splinter. So I was the, as far as I was concerned, I was the teacher. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, Moose was Leonardo. Had to be Leonardo.
Of course. Of course, it had
Yes,
to be
he was.
Leonardo. Yes.
I mean, you walk into an arcade and the sounds of
Look at that.
fists, kicks, and that fight start screen, pop up. Fight, let's fight, whatever
Let's
it would
fight.
be.
It did.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look at that right there.
It just pulled you right in, made you want to put your coins up and let's go. I mean, Bitmap Books does an amazing job here, showing not not just the gameplay spreads, but also telling the story of how the genre evolved. From simple two-button brawlers to the full-on worlds with sci-fi and fantasy influences. The mutant bosses were awesome. The cyborgs, the ninjas, and the apocalyptic city streets. I mean, this is real stuff. And as you're scrolling through here, Moose, showing the pictures for those who were watching, these are from the actual books, the actual book. And that's what makes it so cool.
Streets of Rage. Look at that.
What's cool is they connect it to the modern revivals too, like Streets of Rage 4. And it's a reminder that this genre isn't dead. It just keeps evolving. But as I was looking at this book, I didn't know that there were this many. First of all, but I certainly didn't know that they.
No, I'm sorry. That's what I was going back to, Magic Mike. Is that in the book, you have going back from the 80s all the way to the 2000s in side scrollers kind of changed, kind of revolutionized gaming. When you talk about, you go into an arcade and you can tell right away, now that you know what a side scroller is, you go into an arcade, you go, oh, side scroller, oh, side scroller, oh, side scroller. You can point them out.
Exactly.
Listen, I would tell you that the laundromat is where I played my games. Right. The sound effects of a washer and a dryer in the background was my noise. Right. But I learned how to play Street Fighter here.
Yeah.
I learned how to I beat Double Dragon, and I remembered the last boss with the machine gun and how many quarters I dropped in there because one bullet killed you. Right? It was one bullet, you were dead. I think about Ninja Gaiden in the arcade, one of the first games that have a button on the joystick.
Oh
right? You grab pose and you swing. Right. Man, I even think about games like when you got out of the arcade and you went home, right? There were side scrollers on home systems, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
River City Ransom, right? For me, I know for you guys, you may not know that game, but River City Ransom was one of the first side scrollers with multiple areas. You can travel, you can buy food, it was almost like an RPG side scroller. Yeah. Right. And so it created for me that Legend of Zelda feel because I got to buy things and level up, but it was a side scroller. Yeah. Man, awesome.
Yeah, by the way, you mentioned laundromats, but I can remember those first experiences not outside of the arcade would be like a Pizza Hut where I had to sit down.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Buffet style Pizza Hut.
Those are great. Those are great. I love that. I love just that whole piece. It just brings me back so many memories.
Yeah, it does. Because I didn't even realize there were that many side scroller games, but just in this book, they played and documented over 200 side scroller games. I mean, wow, that's an amazing number. Right. I think I would have done it. They probably did it for free because I know I would have stayed around and played 200 games. That'd have been an incredible time.
Right.
And they talk about some key ingredients to what makes it successful. But I didn't know this. They talked about a game crash of 1983. I did not know that, and they said it was due to saturation. Excuse me. And then what they say is what really brings this book around is 1984. And my curiosity was, what was 1984 about? Well, that was the origin point. That was the first. What many people say is the world's first side-scrolling game, and that was Kung Fu Master.
Oh yeah,
Bruce
Kung
Lee
Fu Master. Yeah,
Bruce Lee in 8-bit form.
That's probably listen.
That's right. Look, hey, you remember this Altered Beast?
Oh yes.
Look at Power up.
I thought this was great. Look at the beast mode.
Yes. First of all, I can tell you I never got to pass the dragon stage. I would always die in that stage.
I tell you, it was hard. And Moose, as you're flipping through these pages, it feels like you're walking down a whole row of arcade machines.
Yeah.
Just like it's a side scroller. You're like, what's next? Which is next? As you're moving through them.
That's right.
Is Golden Axe in there, Moose? Golden Axe has got to be in there. Golden Axe.
Of course.
I'm sure.
Of course.
The little drawers that come out with the potions.
I love it.
They drop the potion.
Unfortunately for Game God, you don't need quarters to read the book.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I got to tell you, that's the both the laundromat and the arcade. They have lots of quarters. Let's not forget the design side of these books, guys. I know you talked about it, briefly. We were talking about the PDFs, and we're going through the PDFs and the digital piece. But the design of these books, because Bitmap books is consistent, and I mean consistently gorgeous, because you can touch it and feel it. I mean, this kind of bridges a gap between reading about something and playing a video game. Now you kind of get it into one. And you got gorgeous books to do it. Even in the digital PDF form, the layouts, the typography, high resolution scans are crisp.
Yes.
4K.
You could tell. What's that?
4K.
Yeah, 4K. Yeah, I mean, you could tell that the physical editions are absolutely shelf candy. You put them on a shelf, they're going to look great. Heavy pages, embossed covers, the works. The art, the books are. It's really a piece of art. We talked about that the last time we talked about it. They're art books as much as they are gaming history books.
Yes.
So they look as good as you might think. So what's neat is that the Game Boy book leans into colorful cover art. The beat 'em up book leans into gameplay action. Totally two different vibes, two different spreads, both beautifully presented. If you're a collector or if you're just someone who loves flipping through visual history, these books hit the mark. So kind of wrap that up, Game God. You covered. What's your favorite discovery from these books?
So I only get to pick one.
I mean, yeah, that's all we have time for. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So well, we do have time, but we're gonna for the sake of everyone
could have
else.
time,
yeah. All right. So for me, as I go on through these books, so many things come to mind. But the first thing it's just personality, man. Like, and when I say personality, when you think about those Game Boy covers, what was packed to them, I can't even begin to describe it. I'll try. Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Legend of Zelda. When I see the cover art, when I saw it in this book, when I see it physical form, and I don't have the box anymore. I wish it did.
Right.
I had the boxes of all these games at one point. I don't have them anymore.
They don't even have boxes anymore, by the way. You just get digital. Like I said, you just get a digital piece.
Raise the price, get out the box. And I was like, but when I look at the cover art for Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, it's like a portal. It takes me back to being 13, riding the L train in New York City, and riding it for an hour one direction, going to school, like I said earlier, riding it back. And I remember vividly everything on the train, because of that cover. That's the nostalgia that comes out of watching these covers and looking at them.
Nice.
Absolutely. I'll say for me, Moose, you didn't ask me, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Please.
It was remembering just how wild the side-scroller era was. I forgot how many over-the-top bosses and sci-fi themes were baked into these games. The Final Fight pages had me just grinning from ear to ear as I got to see these things. Just incredible stuff.
Exactly.
And Moose, he only grinned because he never finished it. He the last boss was just too much. He ran out of quarters.
That may or may not be true.
Exactly. Well, I got to tell you, these books, they don't just remind us of games. They remind us of a whole era. And this, like you said, the game got nostalgia, the vibe, the culture that we are in then, but more so now. Bitmap Books once again nails it. So if you're into retro gaming, sci-fi, or just love great visual design, these are absolutely worth checking out. They get the podcast for sci-fi seal of approval. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead and sign it off. Get the auto pen out. And then I would say check them out at bitmapbooks.com. You can check them out there. They have a plethora of books to look at. Tell them podcast for sci-fi sent you. We still have to open up a little contest, and we'll figure that out. And we'll put a social media post about it and talk about that, and maybe we can get these guys to send one of the audience members a book.
Well, and if Moose is sending you there, he's Mr. Retro himself. If he's sending you there to look at these things,
so did the paperwork come in to get your name changed to Retro?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Retro Moose.
He's working. Retro Moose.
Yeah.
I love it.
Bitmapbooks.com. Check them out, guys. We hope to, be a partner with these folks in the future, along the way over the next few years, maybe longer, as time goes on. But check them out, and like I said, tell them the guys from Podcast for Sci-Fi sent you. Now, let's talk about our last piece of information here, and that is the Mandalorian trailer. This was this got quietly released.
It did.
It did. It just kind of slid in there.
That was slick.
And those of you that are Star Wars fans and love The Mandalorian we want to hear your thoughts on this Mandalorian trailer. But first, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. We have not talked about this, and that's a very specific reason because we do this on a podcast. I want to know what you thought of the Mandalorian trailer. Let's start with Magic Mike. He looks like he's ready. Magic Mike, take it away.
Yeah, man, you're getting those cues, those visual cues. Listen, this action looks incredible. It starts off a little slow, and then I'm not so sure. And then as soon as Mando kicks that guy right into the shelves behind him at the bar, the restaurant, whatever you want to call it, I'm like, this is great. I'm ready. Let's dive right in. I mean, there's so much good about this, and I'm going to steal everything here, just like Game God would have done. I mean, Jabba looks buff. You see the muscles on him. You get to see Jabba in there. He looks buff and young. You don't see his face, but you see him from the backside in the trailer. And then I know, Moose, you're wanting to dive in here. But here's the thing. At the end, I'm so glad they brought back the Razor Crest. We see the Razor Crest resurrected, like Moose's dreams after he's putting together the Lego and then resurrects his Lego piece set again. This looks incredible to me. I'm back. You can see Star Wars is back with this movie.
So Magic Mike, I love that you went first because I'm glad I didn't go first. So when I started seeing the trailer, I was almost scared and disappointed, and it's because I started seeing too much Grogu, and I saw in the beginning of this trailer. So the first, I don't know, the trailer's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, right?
Minute and a half.
Let's say the first 45 seconds to a minute, it's everything Grogu. Right, and I'm like, this is the Grogu movie with a sidekick called Mandalorian, right? and I was worried about that because what it felt like it was just trying to sell merchandise, right? Oh. But to your point, Magic Mike, when Mando comes out, now we're talking. Now there's a movie, right? Now there's something, and just I love the music. It is the original music orchestrated.
Yes,
like it's amplified, right? Yeah. And so and. So the first time I saw it, I guess I was looking at it too much because I saw it a couple of times. I was looking at just the visuals, but then by like the second and third and fourth time, I'm listening to the music and it's all connecting. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is going to be great. Don't show too much. All right? Don't show too much, please.
Yeah.
I don't want to
happen. It's going to happen.
I don't want to see. I want to see probably 2 more trailers, maybe an extra 10 seconds. Right? And that's it. But I can't wait. May of 2026 is too far away.
Yeah, May 22nd or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So all right, let me get in here. Magic Mike nailed the point where I said, "Oh yeah, this is what I like," and that is the kick to the guy. It reminded me of the first time we saw Mando, and the blaster in that whole bar scene on whatever it was. I just think I'm like, yes. And when he pulls out that whole thing reminded me of the opening scene of The Mandalorian in the first season. And I think that's what hit it for me. And I loved it. And if you take a close look at this, if you watch it on your phone, you may not get the understanding. Watch it on a bigger screen, on a computer, on an iPad, so you can really tell the detail because you can clearly see the difference in the quality that you're going to get in this movie versus the TV show because it looks so good. As a matter of fact, I want them to please go back to some of even the prequels and redo some of that same stuff. It looks so good. It looks so real right now. And by the way, I'm not knocking the prequels, by the way. I know a lot of people do. I'm just saying that the way that they're doing it now is incredible. But you'll see a huge difference between the show and the movie with the quality of work that we're seeing. And we thought the show was good.
Well, it's like watching it in 1080p when you watch the show, and this is 4K.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't realize it until you watch this trailer.
Until you watch it in 4K, you're like, wow, how much better can this get?
The creatures look great. By the way, I don't think that was Jabba. I think that's going to be somebody that could be Jabba's son, by the way.
You know what? You may be right because you remember in the show that there was the two Jabbas.
Yes.
Oh, actually, that does make sense because remembering now where this lies. This is after.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things that where you can see a hut. We've never seen a hut built, strong I think that's going to be a unique, take on it. But it does look amazing. I was so happy to see the Razor Crest. But I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I need to see about, like Game God said, I need to see about 20 more seconds of this, and then cut me off, and then put me in a pine box and keep me frozen until the movie comes out, and then open and then bring me out, because that's when I want to see the rest.
Well, and we all know, though, that's not going to happen. We're probably going to see 3 or 4 more trailers. One of them's going to be 2.5 minutes.
Or 7 or 8 more, yeah.
Well, I'm a little disappointed in you guys because I didn't say it only because I wanted someone else to say it. Did no one not like the AT-AT scene where they get blown off?
Yeah, I was just about to mention it.
I love the AT-AT scene. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That whole piece of going back and redoing some old stuff, like, it is amazing.
Yeah. It looked real. It looked real, and it was done. It wasn't rushed, right? So when usually when they do those kind of big explosions, like things blow up and boom, zoom out. No, this thing the camera was fixed. It stood right there. It watched the thing. It lost a leg, blew up a side, leaped over, and then it did the moose fall. Like like when Moose hurt his leg, it's like, and he just kind of leaped.
I
don't know where that's coming from.
Moose is trying to figure it out.
It was amazing.
But it was great. It was great. So, and that's where I feel like it's really gonna go and expand upon like the universe of Star Wars, right? We said it when the Mandalorian show came out. There's so much they can do with this. We're gonna see even more with the movie.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Excited.
It's actually building more excitement than some of the other Star Wars shows that we've seen. For sure, but it actually built some excitement for a new movie, and I'm super excited about that. I want to see it. I will see it. I'll see it on opening day, and I hope we're all 3 together talking about it very soon. All right, that's it. Next week we got some other stuff coming up. Be sure to join us. Check out our website for more information.
I was just leaving.
Nerd alert, nerd alert, nerd alert, nerd alert.
You've been listening to Podcast for Sci-Fi with Moose, Game God, and Magic Mike. Nerds have more fun. If it's anything sci-fi, we're talking about it. We had fun, and we hope you did too. We have to split, but we'll be back soon. In the meantime, hit us up at podcast4sci-fi.com. This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. Come to life.